following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Chapter 7. Rognar. The Witch Queen is trying to kill me. First with her soft backside, gently grinding against my hard, ready cock for hours on end. Then with her frank, sad tails. Now this kiss, a mirror to the one I placed on her own hand. What does it mean that she should choose to kiss me after I tell her not to touch me without desire? I know I am not pleasing to look at, especially to the beautiful races. I am an orc, with hints of troll from my mother, and the combination is both fierce and terrifying to behold. My bride-to-be is none of those things. This day feels like a fever dream. Perhaps I ate bad bloodroot, and even now am hallucinating that the most beautiful creature I have ever seen acts as though I do not disgust her. She does not leave me to my thoughts, however.
At any rate, that is how I came to have a governess that was versed in alt culture. She told me stories of her time in Orcash. Not all were bad, and I grew curious. All my knowledge has been useful, though, has it not?
I cannot see her face, but I can hear her smile in her voice. She is pleased, this human. Her plan has been a success. She has stopped the war between our people, and she has kept her crown, gaining a second in the bargain. In addition, already she has wrapped me around her tiny fingers. Her wit, her bravery, her beauty. I am powerless against them.
Now, for our bargain,
She queries.
I believe you owe me a secret?
I glance to the side and see the she-knight with her banner. I'd rather have no more people than necessary hear of my weaknesses. I will tell you tonight, Witch Queen, when we are alone. She stiffens suddenly in front of me, alert and wary.
Tonight?
She asks icily.
Alone?
Her tone is dangerous, but I have already learned that it holds more warning than threat. Adalind becomes cold when she is afraid, hot when she is feeling angry. I must step carefully to keep her from skittering farther away from me. We are to be married on the morrow, are we not? What is one night together? She stiffens further, and I hasten to add, sleeping only, no favors, remember. Adalind relaxes a fraction, but only a fraction.
And if I say no?
I bite back a grin. The ice is gone. The fire is coming. I much prefer the fire. It is easier to deal with. I lean down on my mouth next to her ear. Then I am not above begging. Is that what you want, Witch Queen? Me on my knees. My breath tickles her ear and she shivers. I know that she is thinking of that last time I was on my knees and what I said then. She relaxes again, almost back to where she was, back to my chest, soft backside giving me the most delicious torture.
Maybe I would like some begging now.
She says haughtily, but there is a lightness in her tone that is like she is playing with me. Delighted, I lean even closer. I whisper in my broken way, please, human queen, honor me in my bed tonight. Sleep in my arms where I can protect you and fight your demons. Please. Each word brings her closer until she is relaxed completely into me. Perfect. A moment passes until I hear her breathe the word I most want to hear.
All right.
The Adrician capital of High Citadel looms before us, the spires of its castle painted in orange and pink from the sunset. Ostentatious. How many backs were broken to build such a monstrosity? Adalind twists back in the saddle.
Are you ready for one last shower of plenty?
I can always do what I must, I reply. Truly, I am done with this day. The bloodroot is wearing off, and I can feel the effects of missing so much rest. With the added travel and the unprecedented amount of talking I have done this day, I want nothing more than to lie on a bed of furs with a warm, willing woman in my arms and sleep. Not just any woman, Adalind. Her scent and softness are driving me mad. her insightful comments, and even her skittishness. Everything draws me to her. I am close to breaking ranks and riding off into the mountains behind the capital city. Treaty be damned. My blood surges in me to chase, to bite, to claim. The human queen's story about her handmaiden returns to me, and inwardly I grimace. Her story was not much different from my mother's, though my father never claimed my mother. When an orc bestows their bite upon another, it makes it so they can only sire offspring with each other, a symbol of trust and love. But under my grandfather's rule, they deemed such things folly. They encouraged orcs to take new mates all the time, in hopes of creating stronger and stronger offspring. Those that claimed their mates were removed from rank, made to do the lowest, most menial jobs in the horde. My father was an ardent follower of his father, believing every poisonous thought my grandfather ever uttered. But the folly was theirs. Those with claimed willing mates had more children than those that didn't, and having both parents made the orclings grow stronger, more balanced. In 2 generations, my sire and grandsire had almost destroyed Orikesh and our people by shunning our natural instincts and picking and choosing which sacred traditions to follow. I had changed much in my reign, but there is still more to be weeded out from their toxic rule. Claiming is no longer punished, and soon will be lauded. I intend to lead by example. Adalind will be mine just as soon as she consents, and then I will fill her with our children, and she will never leave my side. The mating madness in my veins will not allow it. But I know she is not ready for such thoughts, and as we ride through a cheering capital, enthusiasm bought with royal coin, I keep my hopes to myself. We reach the castle gates and are met by the contingent of the Queen's Guard that rode ahead of us to spread the word that the war is over. They are shocked, I can tell, that their queen rides without a face covering, but are far too well trained to remark on it. One of the human males dismounts, approaching my war beast without fear, reaching a hand out. "Your Majesty, may I help you dismount?" The offer is innocuous enough, but my primal territorial instincts do not like another tending to the female I have already claimed as my own in my head. A small growl escapes before I can stop it, but Adalind surprises me by stroking a soothing hand against mine, stilling my aggression.
"Thank you, Sir Wares,"
she responds.
"but King Rognar will assist me."
Adalind cocks her head back toward me.
"Will you not?"
With an expertise born from countless hours of training, I dismount, careful not to jostle my passenger. Then I put both of my hands on her waist and lift, relishing the feel of her daintiness beneath my hands. She feels light as a feather as I lift her with my strength, and seems almost to float through the air before I place her down on the ground again. I whisper into her ear, "Your every wish is my command," and lean back to see the light-dusting blush my words have produced. She softly clears her throat, and then turns to the female knight at our side.
"Dame Zara, I place the feeding and lodging of the horde in your capable hands. Then come find me in my gardens. King Rognar, if one of your commanders could assist."
I glance toward my generals. 𝐐𝐞𝐽 is the obvious choice, but he had already clashed with Dame Zara twice, and his open hunger for her clouds his mind. Besides, I need to confer with my axe and shield, something that I have not been able to do since the pylons this morning. "Ordred," I say, addressing one of my more even-keeled orcs, "assist Dame Zara and let her know what our needs are." "Yes, my king." 𝐐𝐞𝐽 looks furious, but the expression is all in his eyes, the rest of him rigid and stone-faced. He feels slighted, I know, so I make a point to say to the queen, "And I will need to meet with my advisors to discuss matters of the horde. I will meet back with you later." I can tell that Adalind does not appreciate being dismissed because her fake, ever-pleasant smile rises to her lips and misses her eyes.
"All right. As I said, I will be in my garden, but do not tarry too long. I would also like to present to you the handmaiden I spoke to you about. She has expressed a desire to meet you."
This is surprising, but not unwelcome. I wish to speak to her as well. and find the name of her murderous ex-mate so that I may kill him. Adalind nods in acknowledgement.
Very well. When you are ready to find me, ask our housekeeper Sorrel, and she will lead you through the castle.
With that, she turns away without further acknowledgement, and her knight begins barking orders, Woodred following behind. Glancing about, I notice a small private corner of the courtyard, and jerk my head in a silent order at 𝐻𝐻𝐿 and 𝐐𝐿𝐼, who follow me without a word. When we arrive, I tap a totem hanging from my neck, one that has been enhanced for silence, and will allow us to talk without being overheard by even the most sensitive of orc ears. Report. Like usual, 𝐻𝐻𝐿 begins. Most of the orcs are pleased with your decisions. He starts. After the death of Yorion, the bloodlust began to wane, and killing innocents is good for neither honor nor sport. They trust you and see the treaty as wise and are eager to take part in the spoils. He then hesitates but pushes forward. Some of the orcs in the horde are restless, however. 𝐻𝐻𝐿 reports. They are not pleased that Queen Adalind bargained to change the bride chase. I snort. Are any of these fools ones that I would grant a chase anyway? A ghost of a smile flits across my shield's face. Very few. Remove the rest from the list then, I growl. I will suffer none to ruin this treaty for us. I hear a snort to my right and turn to my axe, who looks sarcastic. You wish to speak, 𝐻𝐿? With another snort, he says, Can I, my king? Or will I taste your blade if I speak against the human queen? I welcome your insight if it is wise, I reply, and resist the urge to flex my hand toward my weapons. Perhaps 𝐻𝐿 is right to worry. Then I will say, what treaty, my king? This was supposed to be a surrender of the humans, and yet the humans got everything they wanted. They keep their sovereignty with only a small tax, and as for this willing brides business, now it is my turn to scoff. I never took you for a fool, 𝐻𝐿. What? The statement affronts him. Only a fool takes what would be given freely. A continuing tax will bring more revenue than a one-time emptying of their coffers. Sovereignty, with governors chosen by me, means less work for the crown, and willing brides means the possibility of a true matehood. Mates that stay and consent to be claimed. Orclings with both mothers and fathers. I can see this point lands with him. Like many orclings with a parent from the fair races, 𝐻𝐿 never knew his mother. She abandoned him right after he was born and was never seen again. His father was one who claimed his mate as well, so he could sire no other children and died young, the strain of being separated from his claimed mate being too much. Still, my axe is too stubborn to back down without more of a fight. But how do we know this pool of willing brides is even desirable? She could be giving us the dregs and expecting us to be grateful. 𝐻𝐿 snorts. So that's what this is about. My axe whirls on my shield. What are you talking about? One would have to be blind not to see that you have already chosen a female you wish to chase. 𝐻𝐿 shrugs. And she is one that is unlikely to submit her name to those willing to mate. She has as much of a duty to Queen Adalind as we have to our king, and will likely not give it up. You just wish you could take her anyway. Enough, I growl. You know that 𝐻𝐿 speaks true. Take this as an order, one that is binding from the king you swore to serve. Speak none of this selfish nonsense you have just uttered in the horde. I will suffer no discord. As for Dame Zira, unless she approaches you first, you are to stay away from her. Do you understand? Willing brides only. I should not have to explain this to you. 𝐻𝐿 looks like he wants to explode, but his loyalty to me is without question, and so he swallows his ire and says, Yes, my king. Good, I grind out. Settle the horde and place a watch around the castle. We are still the victors, and this is our castle now, as per the treaty that you so dislike. Nothing will interrupt the wedding tomorrow, and though I do trust Queen Adalind to keep her word, I do not trust that there are no cells of discontent humans that would defy her to slit our throats in our sleep. 𝐻𝐿 is the one who responds. Yes, my king. I tap on my silence totem again, releasing the spell. Then go and do my bidding. Report in the morning. For now, I have a queen and a garden to find.
Chapter 8. Adalind. My garden is my favorite place in the palace. What began as an old atrium, Malalia and I have painstakingly crafted into a wise woman's dream. The air is fragrant with herbs and flowers, the ground lined with enchanted fruit trees in pots. A glass greenhouse with a work table is in the center, crafted by artisanal mages. It is my sanctuary. I was never allowed to do actual gardening, as I had to be perfect and clean at all times, but my plans were what was followed. Every rare plant was a gift after a torture session with Yorian. The more I smiled through the pain, the better the gift. This place of peace was bought with my blood and tears, but I banished those thoughts. This place is mine, not his. He doesn't belong. I walked to the lavender growing along one wall. I touched the velvety leaves, careful not to crush the delicate plants. Rognar will be here soon, but I do not know what to say to him. We have only met today, but it doesn't feel like it. I can already read him so well, and more disturbingly, he reads me. I can feel myself growing close to him, but I must pull back. I can only give him so much. My own safety and the safety of my people must come first. I need to move forward with my plans, and being swept up in Rognar is not part of them. I am still engrossed in my thoughts when Dame Zara enters. "I report, as ordered," she says, kneeling on the ground, right fist over her heart. "Rise," I command, stepping toward her. "I will have none of this sulking, Zara." "Your Majesty," she protests, obediently standing. "I am not sulking. What would you call it when you seek to punish me with this formality? It is only the two of us here." Her face contorts in a grimace, then looks a little sheepish. "I suppose you could say I'm brooding, which is the same as sulking." She fidgets again, then finally nods. "If you say so, Your Majesty." I sigh and roll my eyes. "I do, and you are still doing it. What is on your mind then, Dame Zara?" "I am sorry that I dismissed you in front of the orcs, but your emotions were clouding negotiations and I needed a clear head." Zara scuffs her foot on the ground. "I am sorry if I made things more difficult for you, Your Majesty. It is hard for me to be in the same room as an enemy and greet them as you did, with a smile and apparent trust." My smile fades at that. "Do you think it easy for me then, knowing that I likely stood in the same room as the one who killed my brother, and to smile? That my intended husband might be the one who killed him, and that I must trust him in order to save our people? Do not think me unfeeling, Dame Zara. It is hard for me as well, but the survival of our kingdom rests on my shoulders and my smile, so it cannot slip." The knight looked chastened and chagrined. "I do not mean offense, Adalind. It is only... they treated you with such a lack of respect. You, to whom I owe everything, my life, my sword, my knighthood, they treated you like I have always been treated," I conclude for her. King Yorian was no kinder when the doors were closed, as well you know. And before you say it, I know that you would have defended me then as well, if you had been able, but I would have stopped you then, as I did today, for your own sake. Yorian would have punished you for your outburst. The orcs at least admired it. That surprises her. "Admired?" I smile again and say, "Did you not notice? They viewed you as an equal, a warrior under my banner. Shield maidens are not uncommon there as they are here. And I think that orc Gunag," she scowls. "Do not speak of him. He was the worst of the lot." Laughing, I say, "Well, suffice it to say that he more than admired you then." As I continue, I tease, "Perhaps you would be interested in joining the bride pool? I think that would make the orcs very happy." Dame Zara shudders. Only if you ordered me to, Adalind. Good. We have finally completely shed formality again. And the idea of ordering the gold guard into the pool has merit. The warrior orcs would like warriors to pick from, though Zara is the only female. Truthfully, I do not know where I am to get 70 more willing brides and grooms. It was hard enough to find the 30 volunteers we have. Still, in the end, I shake my head. No, the bride pool is to be willing, or it would defeat the purpose. And honestly, I would miss having you at my side if you found a mate. You will never have to worry about that, my knight says solemnly, this time putting her fist over her heart in fond oath, rather than strict formality. Now that we have settled things, I will dismiss you, I say, gathering my skirts and moving to look at the hemlock growing in a patch. Good medicine in small amounts, and poison in large. It is starting to take over its box. It will need tending. I continue. You need some rest before dinner. Perhaps a bath. Zara sniffs herself self-consciously, and then frowns. With a bow, she says, Then I take my leave. Thank you, Adalind, for taking the time to speak with me. We are friends, Zara, I reply. Speaking with you and soothing hurts I may have inflicted is no hardship. She gives me a small smile in response, before schooling her face into her knight's facade and turning on her heel to exit. The door has not been closed long when a most unwelcome voice comes from behind me.
Hello, daughter.
The words are said sneeringly, cutting through the peace of my garden. An involuntary brush of fear traces itself down my back. Ice baths, cruel hands holding me underwater, no air. Mentally giving myself a shake, I banish the memories. This man has no power over me, not anymore. He is a coward, waiting to speak to me until Dame Zara has left. I turn from my herbs, schooling my expression into ice. Duke Grimble, what are you doing here, besides listening to private conversations? You have never been welcome in my private wing. The man who fostered me ignores the blatant insult, sauntering further into my sacred space.
What, no words of welcome for your father? Are you forgetting Yorian's lessons of respect so quickly?
My hands tighten into fists, my nails digging painfully into my palm. He is trying to upset me, throw me off kilter. It is an inelegant manipulation, but one he wields masterfully, and with the effectiveness of a cudgel to the head. But I have too much experience, showing him no reaction. You have never been a father to me, I return evenly, and as I have already stated, you will find no welcome here, or soon in the capital itself, I silently add, if I have anything to say about it.
But I come today as a representative of the council. Today, daughter.
He emphasizes the last word with vicious mockery.
We have heard some alarming rumors spreading through the city about a deal you have struck with the Orc King. One that a mere regent would not dare have made without the support of his council.
His statement is meant to intimidate, but instead makes me smile. Duke Grimble has shown his hand to me, and does not even know it. But Duke Grimble, I return, mimicking his word choice. You cannot possibly be a representative for the whole council, as I did have majority approval for actions before taking them.
What?
His sneer facade falls for a moment. I have truly shocked him. Still, a cruel politician such as the Duke is not speechless for long.
You lie.
He hisses, taking another step forward.
I stand with all the remaining members of the council. We will not stand by your entirely unfavorable surrender.
It takes everything in me not to retreat from the cruel man, but I know from experience any show of fear will merely encourage him. I stand, envisioning icy mist rolling off me in waves. I am the Ice Queen. I intone the mantra, nothing can touch me. The remaining members? I query, voice cold. But Duke Grimble, the council is still full. That breaks him up short.
At least 8 members of the council have been captured or killed in the war, daughter. There are only 5 of the 13 left.
Yes, I reply, letting a cruel smile slide onto my lips. So interesting, is it not? That the 8 chosen to go with the king to the front were either your political rivals, or who had assets you and the others coveted. Anyway, they thought so.
What do you mean?
Well, when I contacted them with copies of the letters you wrote to my late husband, encouraging him with which council members should be required to prove their loyalties by joining the conflict, along with your excuses of why you and your friends should not have to do the same, they were most interested. He hisses, a wounded beast.
What have you done?
I gathered copies of their last wills and testaments that give me their posthumous support. Something that is quite legal, I assure you. As regent, I also have the power to approve successors to the council. 4 of those killed had children.
Daughters?
Scoffs Grimble. Strangely, the council's code does not specify what kind of heir can take the seat, just that they must be the closest blood-related heir. I have proved Duchesses Saintier, Lentley, Kimber, and Wilton to take their father's seats. Whatever coup you may have planned by causing so many deaths on the Council of 13 will not come to fruition, I'm afraid.
What? How?
Yorian never saw me as a threat, and so he was not careful around me. Neither were you. I know more than you could believe, and I'm 5 steps ahead of you.
Yes?
He sneers.
By marrying an orc and placing women on our highest ruling council. The nobles will never stand for this, especially your betrayal.
What betrayal?
What betrayal? You intend to rot with that beast that killed your brother and think you are not a traitor to his memory and your country?
The words are practically frothing from the irate Duke. I intend no such thing.
Do not lie to me. My sources tell me you are going to mate with Rognar as part of your little treaty. I should not be surprised. A power-hungry, mewling little gutter snipe like you. Once one has played whore to one king, it is easy to play with another, I wager. Even if he ended the life of the brother you claim to have loved.
Duke Grimble's words drip with hatred. Yorian! I seethe, unable to take it any longer. Yorian killed my brother.
What?
Grimble is truly shocked.
You speak madness.
No, I do not. Anger fills my voice, freeing my tongue from any veneer of decorum. Yorian started a war he could not win. At your encouragement and that of your cronies, I might add. He thought that the nation of the most brutal and dangerous warriors on the continent would be easy prey because they had not invaded and conquered anyone for the past 7 years. As if peace means weakness. As if hundreds of years of culture and training can disappear in less than a decade. He dragged our nation's armies, mages, and his own blue guard with him, and now they lie in ruins. Foolishness! Idiocy! He might as well have wielded the axe that killed them all himself. I draw myself up to my full height, looking down on the man I hate most in the world. So yes, I mean it when I say Yorian killed Marvik, and you helped him. Duke Grimble's rage explodes, his hands curling into fists as he advances on me, raising them as if to strike me.
You stupid, haughty bitch! I will teach you!
And then suddenly, he is no longer in front of me. A shadow blurring before my eyes, and Grimble's angry tirade trails off into a pained whine. Rognar is there, slamming the Duke into one of the courtyard's pillars, cruelly twisting the struggling man's right arm behind his back with such a force that I swear I hear a pop.
Forgive me, Queen Adalind.
Rognar grinds out.
It appears I left you alone too long.
The Duke is screaming, a pitiful sound. All his bravado from before is gone, his wizened face pale with pain and fear. Rognar shakes him, turning the screaming into a high-pitched whine.
Who is this worm?
The Orc King grinds out.
And how does he dare to strike his own queen?
I am Duke Grimble.
Stutters out the older man.
I am her father, and...
Not my father, I interrupt coldly. I was the ward of his estate. My father is dead on Yorian's orders. Rognar considers my words for a moment, then leans in close to Grimble, the tone of his voice almost conversational.
My father used to strike me.
Rognar rumbles.
It was the orc way of strengthening spawn.
Then you understand.
I tore his head from his shoulders when I grew of age.
Rognar finishes.
And now, I will do the same to you.
Wait, I still need Grimble. He will lead me to the rest of Yorian's cabal. I have no names beside his, but there are so many nobles that could cause me problems. Grimble is my clearest tool in finding them all and ripping them out by the roots. It is not time to kill him. Yet. Wait! I cry, placing a staying hand on Ragnar's hard bicep.
You would protect this cur.
Fury laces his stone-ground voice, and Ragnar's grip flexes, Grimble's whines turning to wheezes. Dare I tell Rognar this part of my plan? Maybe. He is a ruler who deposed the former king. Perhaps he would understand the need to make myself and my country safe by rounding up and killing all my foes in one swift strike. But I cannot tell him now, where anyone might be listening. So instead, I say, he is still a powerful man, with influence. His death would enrage many others. We cannot start a peace with death, so close to the ink drying on the treaty's page. That puts a pause to Ragnar's actions, but still his face is grim.
Or we would do well to set the precedent of what happens to men that raise their hands to women. This country is a territory of Orcs now. Your people will learn to live by my laws.
And I want nothing more, I implore, truth coding my words. But we still need the nobles on our side to ensure a peaceful transition. Please, for the sake of peace, give him a warning and banish him from the castle. That would be punishment enough for one such as him. A beat passes, and I begin to think that my words have no power of persuasion over the Orc King when his grip relaxes.
Very well,
he says, dropping the noble to the ground.
I give this as a warning. You will commit no other acts of violence against those physically weaker than yourself. You will stay away from the Queen, except to grovel and thank her for her mercy. You will leave this castle and not come back. If you break any of these commands, your life is forfeit.
The shaking man pulls himself to his feet, keeping his head low in a fearful bow. Angry purple marks stand in stark relief against his papery white skin. He has given enough similar marks in the past to innocence that I can feel a not small sense of satisfaction at their appearance. There is something about an angry orc protector that I already enjoy.
Thank you for your mercy and good judgment,
wheezes Grimble, head still low and fear in his voice.
I will make my apologies to Her Majesty now.
Warning bells ring out in my mind. Surely he would not be so audacious. Before I can finish the thought, he sidles up to me as if to embrace me, the picture of familial contriteness. Grimble leans forward.
My dearest daughter,
he starts before lowering his voice to the barest whisper.
You will pay extra for this humiliation. I should have taken my turn with you when Yorian offered.
An angry roar breaks off the Duke's poisonous words. Stupid, stupid bastard. Does he not know the superior hearing of orcs? Did he truly think he could disrespect the Orc King's words right in front of his face with impunity? No! I cry, but I know I am too late. A whistle shrieks through the air, and then Grimble is screaming, a bloody stump where his right hand used to be, a streak of blood on Ragnar's once pristine axe. 2 orcs appear in the garden suddenly, weapons at the ready.
Take this refuse to the dungeon and lock him there with no treatment. I do not care if he lives or dies. Let it be known he dared try to strike the Queen.
Ragnar's voice rumbles with barely contained anger and unquestionable authority. His orcs are swift to follow his orders, dragging the screaming man from my one sanctuary. Anger boils through my own veins. At Grimble, at the world, but especially at Rognar. You have ruined everything! I hiss at him before I can stop myself. He turns to me, still cleaning the bright red human blood from his blade, confusion on his face.
What have I done other than protect you from a weak, vicious human?
I can protect myself from insults, I volley back. I have been doing so since long before today. I have never needed a protector before.
Yet you have one now.
He returns evenly. His calm infuriates me. I am a long way from my goals of freeing my country from those that would abuse it, and now I have taken a huge step behind because Rognar's first instinct is to kill those that have insulted me. I open my mouth to lash him with my tongue when I hear a clearing throat interrupt my fury. "Your Majesty, may I approach?" "Malalia." I had forgotten. I work to even out my voice, but my consonants are still sharp, my eyes still on Rognar as I respond. "Of course, you are always welcome here." A cloaked figure emerges, clothed in crushed blue velvet. She is as tall as most human men and seems to walk confidently forward, but I know her too well and know she is nervous. I am still furious with Rognar, but I would not ruin this meeting for my dearest friend for all the world. "King Rognar," I say formally, my tone still icy. "May I present my lady-in-waiting, Malalia?" The Orc King starts at her name, and Malalia lowers her hood. She looks regal, with her square jaw and silver-gray skin, long plum-colored hair coiled atop her head in intricate braids. She looks younger than she is, with only a few lines at the corners of her eyes, and her small double tusks jut blue-stained lips forward and are capped with gold, unlike her small bare horns. Rognar hesitates for only a moment before striding forward at a breakneck pace. I'm alarmed for a second, thinking he means to strike her. Could he be angry? But my fears pass in a moment as the hulking orc seems to collapse on the tall woman in a tight embrace. He says only one word, his tone jubilant.
"Mother." Chapter 9. Rognar. How? I stumble with my words. When? I don't know what is happening. My mother is in front of me, a handmaiden to my bride-to-be. I thought she was dead. No, I knew she was dead. I saw the heart my father presented to me. I executed his entire cabinet of hunters in retribution for the deed. But here she is, looking older than I remember her, but still recognizable. I pull back from the embrace to look at her. Silvery tears roll down her troll cheeks.
"My son,"
she says, her voice a balm on my heart.
"How I've missed you."
I pull her close again, holding her fiercely, my heart pounding in my chest. "Not as much as I missed you." A crystalline voice breaks into the tender moment.
"I will leave you both to become reacquainted,"
says Adalind, her expression still cold.
"I will speak to you later, King Rognar."
The words are ominous. Already I have forgotten the puling worm I punished, and that it had made my mate angry. Why, I do not know, but Adalind is devious in the most thrilling way. She must have had a plan to use him, or perhaps she wished to take her own vengeance. I hadn't considered that in my rage. The Witch Queen sweeps out of the room, a picture of beautiful ice-cold fury. I move to arrest her movement. I have much to ask her, and, I suppose, to apologize for. However, my mother's hand stops me instead.
"Let her go,"
she says.
"It will do her good to have some time alone. She is not yet used to a supportive partner, and will feel more comfortable in her own counsel for now."
My mother's words are wise, but they chafe. I have let Adalind out of my sight once this day, and found someone taking their hands to her, threatening her with worse violence. Further separation does not please the possessive primal urge in me. As if knowing my mind, Mother smiles, looking in the direction the Queen exited.
"She will be all right. It is good to see her so angry."
That startles me. Good to see her angry? How can that be good? My mother weaves her arm in mine, leaning me to a bench in the glorious garden we are standing in. She replies,
"It tells me that you have grown to be the man I hoped you would be. After spending scarcely a day in your company, she feels safe to be angry with you, to express that anger to you. It shows me that I've been right all along."
The words Mother leaves unspoken, the meaning under her words, are not lost on me. Yorian's castle was not a safe place for my mate. I knew this already, but hearing it confirmed by my mother spears me. Aloud, I say, "And what were you right about?" She hums, a pleased, knowing sound.
"That you and Adalind are meant for each other."
You have thought so all along,
Yes.
she confirms.
From the moment I met that brave girl, I could see her spirit burns as fiercely as your own. And the cards have confirmed what I already knew. I've been paving your way, telling her stories from your youth, words you've said, news from Orkesh, so that she could feel as if she already knew you when you met.
I am stunned by my mother's words. Paving my way. I thought of all the times Adalind surprised me with her knowledge of orcs, of her masterful way of appealing to my secret dreams. It had been my mother coaching her all along, preparing her to be open to being my bride, which meant, you are truly the handmaid that Adalind saved in the forest? For the first time, Mother looked surprised.
She told you of me? Of that day?
I shake my head. No specifics. She did not tell me it was my mother in those woods. But I thought Father never claimed you. And how did you escape the hunters? She smiles sadly, with a gentle shrug of her shoulders.
The claiming was an accident on his part. He lost control in the heat of a moment. As to how I escaped, well, your father always underestimated my magics. He thought my illusions were merely child's play or evening entertainment. When he gave the order that I was to be killed for the sin of being too desirable, I fled before they could get to me. But I knew no matter where I ran, or how far, he would hunt me until I was dead. So I killed a deer and managed it to look like me. The hunters found my false corpse and returned with its heart to your father.
But the mate bond? He would have been able to feel that you still lived. Shaking her head, she unclasps her cloak, the blue fabric billowing to the bench. The dress underneath bares her shoulders, and on her right I see a vicious, gouging scar in the rough shape of a circle.
I cut off the bite,
she says simply.
In the ancient magics, it's a way to remove the emotional ties of a bond, a rejection of sorts. I could not feel him, and he could not feel me. The tie went dark. I could have finished the ritual with a blood rune tattooed on the scar and could have completely severed our souls. But with our souls bound, he could not father any more children to abuse with anyone else. It was my small revenge upon him before you killed him.
I think of my father after my mother had supposedly died. Never with a woman more than once. Always angry, with no appetite, wasting away until it was easy for me to rise up and kill the once towering monster of my childhood. I would say that your vengeance was not small, but potent, I tell her. He experienced the wasting sickness of an incomplete bond after you left. We all thought it was because the gods were punishing him for killing his mate, but now I know it was you. I bark a laugh at the irony. My mother lays her head on my shoulder, a sad, affectionate gesture.
I know hearing such things should make me happy, but instead I feel resigned.
I grimace, my father's face passing before my eyes for a moment before I banish it. He was a monster. She nods, her head still on my shoulder.
He was that. He was also my first love before it all went wrong.
It's my turn to nod. When I was born...
What?
My mother jerks upright, turning to look at me with shock on her gray features. She puts her hands on my face, holding me steady while capturing my eyes with hers.
That is not true. You were nothing but a blessing. My relationship with your father soured well before you came. Your grandfather despised me because he could sense I was your father's mate before any bites happened. He knew that I could turn your father's heart away from the poison that had been spewed at him his whole life if I was given any power. So he turned that poison towards me. Whispered lies and peppered in beatings until your father was no longer capable of being the orc I had loved. Though it's his decisions, especially after your grandfather died, that brought him to his end. I cannot hate him for it. I pity him for what he became through listening to his father, and I mourn what we could have been if he'd merely given us a real chance. In the end, though, he was too broken.
But, and my voice broke on this next question, if that is true, if you didn't hate him and you don't hate me, why didn't you come back when he died? Surely you knew I would welcome you with open arms.
Oh, Rognar.
Her hands moved to my shoulders, a soothing gesture.
I wanted to, especially when I heard of all the changes you were making and knew that you had not changed, but I could not leave Adalind.
My mother hesitates, then says,
If only you knew how that poor human girl has been living.
I know that Yorian hurt her, Mother. She accidentally revealed it to me.
Whatever you think you know, it was worse. Far worse.
I go still at the words, impotent murderous rage burning through my veins. What do you mean? My mother shakes her head, the gold bangles on her ears jingling.
It is not my story to tell. I only say what I have to warn you, my dear son, if you seek to truly win her. Patience is your ally. She has never known warmth from any man that was not her brother, and he perished in the war.
Guilt churns in my gut. I cannot change the past. If I could spare the Blue Guard now, I would. How could I know that someone precious to Adalind was there? How could I have known that Adalind existed at all? But now she has returned a most beloved person to me, having saved her from certain death, and all I have brought to her door is death and sacrifice. She says she blames Yorian, but how could she not hate me, even if just a little? I will send more orcs to search for the body, I decide. I can at least give this brother a good burial and mourning feast. Perhaps the search will yield Dura's body as well. My cousin went missing when she fought the Blue Guard's captain. Mother leans forward, placing her hand on my cheek. Trolls burn hot, and the touch is soothing, like hot stones on sore muscles.
Fear not, my son. As I've said, I have long known that you and Adalind are pieces that fit together. The cards have foretold your union. She will be understanding, but you must show her you will care for her as a person and not claim her like an object. She has had too much of that already.
She continues.
So you must understand, it was not out of lack of love that I did not come to you. It was love for Adalind. Many times, I was the only one allowed to give her any aid.
No others would help her?
Some were too afraid that Yorian might punish them for their actions. But no, there were always those still willing. She attracts loyalty like pixies to pollen, but she did not let them. She didn't want them to see her like that, or see her secret.
See her like what, and what secret? This time my mother stands, refastening her cloak.
I can say no more. Please understand. I am walking the dagger's edge to help you win her heart, while keeping Adalind's confidence. Her trust is hard won, yet so easily broken.
I hold back my aggravation. As frustrated as I am with all these small hints that Mother is sending my way without explanation, I understand. My future queen saved my mother's life, a debt that neither of us can repay. To betray her trust would be against all honor. I sigh. Very well, Mother. I will take your vague words with thanks. I think it is about time I find my bride and seek answers.
Go with Venus' grace, my son.
My mother intones, invoking the troll's high goddess.
And remember, patience will win what haste will destroy.
With my mother's words in my ears, I bow and take my leave, finding myself once again hunting down my maddening witch queen.